Hey guys, I'm Alan Thomas with Rethink Dieting, and I had this random thought this afternoon. It was funny. Actually, it wasn't a random thought. It was somebody that I was online with was talking about. When we were kids, didn't you really think that quicksand was going to be a problem? I mean, if you were a kid in the 70s and 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s for me, I'm 59, and my goodness, Gilligan's Island, Batman, Johnny Quest, the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, I think, whatever the name of the show was. Every show you were on that you saw that was like a adventure show or had superheroes, quicksand was a daggum problem. And so that's what I'm going to talk about in just a few minutes. But a little history on me. If you guys don't know me, haven't followed me online, my story is that in 2017, I stepped on the scale and looked down and saw 304 pounds on as a reading. It was March 2nd. I am 5'11". I was 55 years old at the time. And what was crazy was when I saw that 300 number, it was just like, oh my God. I'd been in the life insurance business for many years where I dealt with the senior market, people predominantly over 55, but mostly over 65. And I could never remember meeting a man that was 65 that was over 100 pounds overweight. And it was like my life flashed before me. It's kind of a cliche thing to say, but it's true. I thought about my wife. I thought about my kids, who were, 15 up to 27 years old at the time. Four kids, three sons and a daughter. I thought about the fact that I was likely to be known as the first husband to my wife. We'd been married 31 years. And I remember walking into those houses when I was selling in life insurance and meeting people and seeing on the wall there's some guy that there's a picture. I said, "Who's this guy?" Well, that was my first husband. And I said, "Well, really, what happened to him?" And they said, "Well, he died, and he was really overweight. He had type 2 diabetes, or he had died of a heart attack or stroke, or just a myriad of things because he didn't take care of himself." And I didn't want to be that guy. And so I publicly lost 129 pounds in 260 days. And now I help men who struggle with obesity get their life back. And that's my passion. That's what I do every day. And but it's funny, when I was the quicksand thing, it is true. I mean, you think about the number of TV shows when we were kids. If you guys are older than 25, and think about all the TV shows that quicksand was an issue everywhere you go. Now, I live on an island. I literally live on an island, Amelia Island, Florida, and I have never seen quicksand. I've lived in Florida the better part of my life, Florida and South Carolina, been in a lot of what they call low country areas in the Southeast. And I have never seen quicksand. I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure it's, that people sink in it and die. And forgive me if anybody's had that experience with somebody in their life, but I say I haven't seen it, but really, this weight thing is so much like that, especially this time of year. I mean, we are, 14 days from Christmas. We just came off Thanksgiving a couple of weeks ago. And by and large, most people are just, throw everything out the window about taking care of yourself, and you just give in to the fact that you're going to weigh 8 pounds is the average weight gain in America of people between Thanksgiving and New Year's. But I would submit to you that guys like me, like I used to be, would gain 15, 20 pounds. And it was always coming up with the New Year's resolution. Well, I'm going to get the weight off, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and it just never happened. And each year it was like stepping in quicksand. Each year, it was one more, pound a month. Well, that's not too much, pound a month, but that's 12 pounds a year. In 10 years, that's 120 pounds. I mean, it is like quicksand. And literally on March 2nd, when I weighed 304 pounds in 2017, it was like I was up to here with the quicksand, and it was taking over my life. And there's so many things that it kept me from. I mean, I would never get on Facebook and do a video like I'm doing now. I would, I get on an airplane, and I talk about this all the time, but I talk to dozens of men every week, and they're all, obese. Nobody gets on the phone with me because they're thin, I can tell you that. And they're obese. They want some answers. And when I'm talking to them, it's always interesting. If they travel at all, the number one most humiliating thing when you travel is having to just jam into an airline seat and barely fit the seatbelt, or have to, push the button for the steward or stewardess and ask for a seatbelt extender. Oh my God, that's horrific. And the shame that people are in over it, and it just doesn't happen overnight. That's what's so insidious about weight gain, is that it literally takes a man out, one bite at a time. So it's like you're stepping in this quicksand and you just keep sinking, and you're constantly trying to grab for, you remember on the TV shows where they're grabbing for vines and sticks or anything they can get to just get leverage to pull themselves out. And when they're in that quicksand, nothing's working. I mean, think about it. It's a $72 billion diet industry. 72 billion, that's with a B. Is it working? Well, I don't think so. I mean, you've got 40 million American men that are obese. And obese is a term. I mean, you guys can look this stuff up. Don't take my word for it. There's more women that are obese than men. So it's over 80 million Americans, adult Americans, that are obese, and it's projected to go up to somewhere over 100 million. I mean, and 300,000 deaths related to obesity every year. So quicksand's not a problem, but obesity is, and morbid obesity. And when I say that to people, it shocks people that I say it, but it's just a statistical fact. You could argue with BMI tables all day long, and I'm not a doctor or nutritionist or dietitian or physical fitness expert. I don't claim to have any of that knowledge. But what I do have knowledge is 30 years of dieting, diet after diet after diet after diet. And none of it worked, because that was never the issue. The answer was all of it worked. Every diet worked. Every single one of them. I just got a phone with a client of mine who he's lost 130 pounds, and he's kind of hit a little wall. He thought he was changing, what he was doing, and we were dialing him back in, and he's going to rock the other 60 pounds he's got to go. But it's just interesting. We search for these Band-Aids to this problem. It's like grabbing that vine that'll never pull you up. I mean, you can see Gilligan or Marianne in the quicksand, or the professor. I'm thinking, I was a Gilligan's Island fan. I love Gilligan's Island. And so you try to pull, and it was never going to work. That's what just dieting will do. And do you have to change what you eat to lose weight? Heck yeah, you got to change what you eat. But it's never just the diet. It's always more right in here. I mean, when you shift your perspective and really get out of what I call dieters' perfectionism, that's searching for the perfect diet that's going to, and here, let's just be clear. Here, what's the perfect diet? The perfect diet for me when I was 300 pounds was, I want to eat everything I want when I want it. When I feel bad, I want to be able to eat a lot. When I feel good, I want to be able to eat a lot. When I have a birthday, I want to be able to eat a lot. When I have Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, Easter, when my go to my cat shrink. I don't have a cat, but you go to your cat shrink, you want to be able to eat what you want. And when you travel, I want to be able to eat what I want. I want to eat everything I want, and then I want to lose weight. Well, that's exactly what we get sold in this country is, oh, you can do anything you want on this night. No, you can't. I mean, get real. I mean, seriously, people, get real. You have to make changes. You have to make changes to your exercise. Does exercise work? Sure does. Can you outrun the fork with running? No. You're gonna, what is it? 100 calories to the mile, average mile running is what it is. 3,500 calories to the pound. So you got to run 3,500. You got to run 35 miles to equal a pound, burn a pound off. It's a lot of running. But does it help? Sure it does. Does changing what you're eating? Sure it does. That helps massively. But we want everything just to be easy. And I did for years, but when it became easy, well, excuse me, when it became simple. When it became simple for me is when I made this shift that changed everything for me. When I made the shift that allowed me to completely rethink dieting, it was like, oh my God, boom, that's how I get out. And I watch these men who've got a lot of weight to lose. And I'm the guy that will not tell you what to eat. And people say, well, how do you get guys to lose weight and you don't tell them what to eat? I said, because that's never the problem. Has been my experience. I did a Facebook Live with one of my superhero clients that he's a guy that's had never dieted. Never. He had no nutrition knowledge, he said, but he's losing weight. So what is it? Is it the diet or is it your thinking? Maybe you got to change your thinking first. That's why I call this rethink dieting. Do you have to change what you eat? Of course you do. But think about what's standing in that quicksand is costing you. I mean, the number of men I talk to that have not been intimate with their wife in a long time. And if they have been intimate, they feel this embarrassment, shame of being obese with their wife when they don't have their clothes on. They go to the beach, they don't take their shirt off, or they won't go to the beach at all. Or they can't get up off the floor with their grandkids. They can't perform their job. They get passed up for promotions at work because of their obesity. Now, no company is going to tell you they're passing you up for promotion, but they are. Because if you've got two people that one is 350 pounds or 304 pounds, let's use me, 304 pounds, and one is 175 pounds, what's your immediate assumption? Your immediate assumption is that the fat guy's lazy. I mean, that's the assumption. And what it is the fat guy's tired. He's carrying around an extra 120 something pounds. I mean, he's tired. He's not going to perform at the same level. There's no way. He can think that he can, but there's no freaking way. You carry around an extra 129 pounds and tell me if you perform as good. It's not going to happen. But what's so cool is when I see these guys get the momentum, they get momentum and they've rethought the process. They start to own what they're eating. When I say own it, I mean, they come up with the diet that works for them. They own the process. They become a master of themselves, and they get into this mode where they're moving forward. And it's so much fun to watch because they start doing things that have nothing to do with weight. They start getting confidence back. They're not embarrassed. They've got their mojo back. They've got that feeling they had when they were in their teens and they were bulletproof. And they're not jumping out of buildings and doing crazy stuff. But the point that I'm saying to you is that this obesity thing, it goes far beyond just your health. I know your ankles hurt. I know your knees hurt. I know you've got type 2 diabetes. I know you've got sleep apnea. I know you've got high blood pressure. I know you might have had a stroke. I know you might have had a heart attack. I know all that stuff. But if that were going to make you get the weight off, you would have already gotten it off. What got the weight off for me was starting to realize the fact that of what it was really costing me, that I wasn't going to live the future I was destined to live. God put us all on the earth for purpose, and at an extra 129 pounds, it's never going to happen. It's just never going to happen. So, that's where the quicksand eats you up. And that quicksand metaphor today, it just grasped me when I heard somebody say that quicksand, what was it? He said, we just thought it was going to be a problem. I'm like, oh my God, it's true. Just like in every TV show, I think, the Wild West and what was it? Lost in Space and Incredible Hulk. And I know I've named some of these. It's just like every show had quicksand. And I've never seen quicksand, but maybe you have. So, if you know somebody that's struggling with obesity, if you know somebody that really that is struggling with it, go watch my masterclass. I've had people tell me, and I'm not a genius. I just learned from 30 years. It's if it was the diet, you'd already been thin. Okay, let's face it, you'd already fixed it. But they watch my masterclass and they're like, oh my God, you told the truth. And I do. I mean, hey, I don't know everything, but I do know the way out of obesity. Go to rethinkdieting.com, watch my masterclass, take about 45 minutes to watch it. And it'll give you some perspective on how to get out of obesity, how to escape it. And if you want to have a further conversation, if you know that you can't do it on your own, or you want somebody just to, kind of help figure out a plan, help. And when I'm saying, I'm not talking about a diet, just so you know. If you need a diet, Google GOOGLE. There's 1,000 of them. The one that'll work is, there's every one of them works at some level. So, but if you're really tired of this, if you just had like I was that day on the scale on March 2nd, 2017, where I said it's changing today. I mean, as soon as I stood on that scale, it was going to change for me, and it did. It changed forever. I mean, 260 days later, 129 pounds gone, and it changed my life. And it didn't just change my health. My health's great. It's fantastic, but it changed a lot more. So if you guys want to get on the phone with me, have an honest conversation about this thing called obesity that you're struggling with, go to transformmyfuture.com/apply. You can pick a time on my calendar. It'll take you to a page where I ask some questions so that I'm really prepared for the call. And then we'll get on, have a 45-minute to an hour conversation and see if we can help. I mean, it's an epidemic, guys. And you don't know when that quicksand is going to cover you up and take your last breath, that quicksand of obesity. You might not be stepping around quicksand, in the sense like they were on the TV shows. But if you weigh 50 pounds overweight, 100 pounds overweight, 200 pounds overweight, you're in quicksand right now. And you don't know how far you are from not being able to breathe ever. And I'm being sincere. And so, my heart goes out to you. I know it's a struggle. I got guys losing weight during the holidays. They're losing weight during the holidays. Who does that? That's insane. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe it's the most sane thing you could do. So guys, check me out at rethinkdieting.com. You can go to my YouTube channel, Rethink Dieting, or you can go to transformmyfuture.com/apply, and you can watch, or schedule a time with me and do that. So watch out for quicksand. It's a real deal.